Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Monday the 16th of February.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda, we cover an event that caters to people who love to run.
We attend a conference launching an initiative that Rwanda intends to capitalize on.
And we learn how to assess our bodies in this week's Motivation Monday feature. Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahadio.
And me, Regis Isheja. And over the next hour, we'll give you all the news, sports, entertainment, lifestyle, and the Rise and Shine team is here with us to begin the week. Sports, Arnold, what do you have for us?
The Cricket World Cup is here. It's a big year for the two big games are cricket and rugby, so the World Cups are all starting to take place. Cricket World Cup first, we'll indulge into that a lot and spend a lot of time on that. And then we did the marathon for Valentine's, some of us.
I feel like you were about to start your whole sports segment right now.
Right.
All right, Alan, what do you have for us in lifestyle?
Well, it's Motivation Mondays, so I've got some tips on how to do a body assessment as well as hot topics. And I must say, I'm loving the pink, Makeda.
Oh, well, you know, I'm still in the mood of love.
All right, and now,
Yeah.
let's get to the money.
Saving the best for last.
Finally, you get to say that.
Right.
Well, I attended the Capital Markets East Africa 2015 conference, and I have the details about the conference today.
Okay, looking forward to it all. All that and more still to come, but first, Rise and Shine story of the day. Jogging and after-work exercise are becoming the norm in Rwanda, and of late, the National Olympic Committee has introduced a monthly marathon to help promote the running culture in Rwanda and possibly groom a Rwandan athlete for next year's Olympic Games. Over the weekend, a marathon in the spirit of Valentine's Day was organized, and Arnold Kwizera has the story.
In its bid to boost athletics in the country, the National Olympic Committee has introduced a new monthly marathon as a way of attracting more Rwandans to take up the sporting discipline. Last weekend's marathon attracted the biggest number of participants so far as hundreds turned up to celebrate the newly created annual National Valentine's Day Marathon. The participants who came from different age groups got a chance to mix with traditional professional athletes as they took part in different competitions that included the couples run, 3-kilometer and 8-kilometer trials. Alex Nizeimana scooped a prize of 30,000 francs after coming home in less than 15 minutes to win the 8-kilometer race.
bintera murare gukomeza gukora imyitozo yanjye kubera ko genda umwaterete umenyereye amarushanwa natsinze nakomeye kuruta yarimo abakinnyi bakomeye kuruta yanagiye mu marushanwa mpuzamahanga gusa nari maze igihe kinini ndwaye so rero kuba nsinze iri rushanwa kandi nkaba nditsinze ikintu kinejeje nuko nditsinze harimo abakinnyi bakomeye bari no muri equipe nationale igiye kujya muri championnat du monde mu Bushinwa ya cross country. So ubwo rero binteye imbaraga zo kumva yuko umubiri wanjye urimo kugarura imbaraga kandi n'imyitozo yanjye ntangiye kugaruka muri mood yo kujya muri team ya competition. So ubwo rero bimpaye imbaraga zo gukomeza kumenya imyitozo ngiye gukomeza gukora uko imeze.
I spoke to a few participants who seemed keen on this competitive but fun activity.
It really inspires me because it shows me that there's a lot of potential for the Rwandese to be able to participate in marathons, and I'm privileged to be a part of it.
This is such a good event to do. Yes, I think we have much fun in this, and yeah, it's pretty cool, and we are doing it on Valentine's Day. Some of us have brought their lovers here. It is just fun.
Ikintu bifasha nuko bifite ikintu byungura umubiri gukora siporo. Ikindi cya kabiri kandi habamo no gusabana n'abagenzi bawe bigira ikintu byungura haba mu bwonko.
On a tellement adoré, on s'est amusé. J'aime bien de courir en groupe. Ah oui, ça fait du bien. C'est intéressant pour les gens qui aiment courir, comme nous.
But there was no taking away the spotlight from couples who encourage other Rwandans to take up their healthy lifestyle.
kwitabira amarushanwa ko dusanzwe dukora siporo tugakorera hamwe muri weekend n'ubundi turazana muri siporo uvuga ngo iyi gahunda ni gahunda twateguye tumaze iminsi duteguye muri club yacu ariko twe twumvaga n'ubundi nk'abantu dusanzwe dukorana siporo tugomba kuzana.
With the target of having more athletes at next year's Rio 2016 Olympics, the National Olympic Committee is set to continue its venture of killing two birds with one stone.
In studio is Martin Coens, the Executive Director of the National Olympic Committee. Welcome to Rise and Shine, Martin.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I think Reggie.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Martin, starting with this Leave for Saturday initiative, tell us what is this monthly sports event that the National Olympic Committee is creating for Rwandans?
We know that for Kigali, it's difficult. The life is difficult. The pressure to work and the time frame of daily activities make it very challenging. And so Kigali is going to experience it, unless something else is done quickly, Kigali is going to experience more non-communicable diseases for the populace here. And you consider that's the leaders of Rwanda, that's those who are heads of commerce, etc. And so it's going to be a real a difficulty for all of Rwanda when those leaders fail to live well. And so we started this Live Sport Weekend in Ziza initiative. First started with athletics, jog, a run, a race, once every month, so that we would give initiative for the common populace of Kigali to be able to start exercising more, and also we would give the initiative to Rwanda's top runners to race on a regular basis.
Now, we were talking off camera before the show started, and you were telling me how it's not just going to be racing, it's not just going to be a marathon, there's going to be other sports you guys are about to take on. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The issue with Rwanda's top performers performing well outside of Rwanda is an issue of a lack of competitions that then don't give the initiative for the athletes and the sports people to train on a regular basis. And so because of this common issue across all sports in Rwanda, we're looking at then including more sports. Right now we're looking very seriously at initiating basketball 3-on-3 to be a monthly event as well.
You're preaching to my choir.
I know, I can tell as I was looking up to you prior to our interview today. And for me, coming from a basketball family, coming from a sports background, I participated in 14 different sports regularly growing up in the U.S. And so because I've had competitive experience in 14 different sports, I look at the kids in Rwanda and the youth here, they're not getting that opportunity to regularly view sports or to regularly participate in sport competitions. And so this is what the Olympic Committee can do as leaders in the sports community of Rwanda, to be able to set a higher standard for more sporting activities that really we can fulfill the mandate of the Ministry of Sports of Sport for All. So by doing that as well, we're trying to look at new opportunities to do sport as commerce instead of sport as charity. Because for Rwanda sport to grow up and mature, it really has to make this transition from charity to commerce. And so in that, as you'll notice for the running events, everyone pays in order to get to run. So likewise, when we start the basketball initiative, when we expand to beach volleyball as well, the teams are going to pay. Now they're going to get ibihembo, there are going to be prizes to win as well. But because of that, then we can afford to pay the referees.
Right.
We can afford to pay for the prizes. And we won't have to initially depend on sponsorship in order to have the tournament. So then when sponsorship comes, that then becomes revenue. So then that we can then use the Live Sport commercial aspects to then fund national team initiatives that are so desperately needed.
Right.
And so then out of that, you have athletes that are training more often, you have athletes that are competing more often, and then you have athletes that are ready at a moment's notice to then perform on an international level. And as well, we're drawing Kigali in to this, what's eventually going to be a festival of sport every single month. It truly will be Live Sport Weekend in Ziza. every month at the
like the
Stadium
ring.
Amahoro.
I like the ring of that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Martin, as a person who's overseeing all sports federations in the country, is the cooperation right? Do we have the right people running these sports federations?
We're really getting it. We're really getting it. As we go through this time of building trust, and you know that's difficult in Rwanda, but as we go through that process, they're learning that they can trust the Olympic Committee. It's not the same Olympic Committee driving that was there 4 years ago, that was there 8 years ago. This is a much more aggressive Olympic Committee that's much more serious. We've got President Bayigamba, who's one of Rwanda's most successful entrepreneurs with Manu Metal. We've got, you just go down the line, the SG, the treasurer, the vice presidents. They're all very well respected, not only in the economic community of Rwanda, but as well in the sport community of Rwanda. And so you've got the right, it's a perfect storm, per se. You've got the right mixture of the right leadership with the right office running the show to then give the sports federations the opportunity to grow, to expand, as well as the accountability that's so necessary.
Well, something is telling me we'll be talking about college basketball off camera and all that. Thank you very much for
We
coming.
have to.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
All
Look forward
right.
to the next time.
All right. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for business news, or as I call it, the money. Fidelis Karangwa has the detail.
Business stories making headlines today. Equity Bank has been cross-listed on the Rwanda Stock Exchange market, a signal that increases confidence in the country's growing capital markets. This was announced during the just completed Capital Markets East Africa 2014 conference held here in Kigali. The conference looked at ways of exploiting capital markets as a source of raising capital for economic growth. Equity Bank, which has its headquarters in Kenya, joins other regional companies that are cross-listed on the local browse that includes Kenya Commercial Bank, National Media Group, Uchumi Supermarkets Limited. IFC, a member of World Bank Group, has placed a 3-year, 3.5 billion Rwandan francs bond with offshore international investors this week to increase foreign investment in Rwanda. The bond, which is yet to be named, marks the first Rwandan bond placed offshore. The placement of this bond follows the decision by the Euroclear to add Rwandan francs as a national denomination currency, helping to facilitate development of this market for international investors. It is expected that this bond will help in mobilizing international capital markets and encourage further foreign investment in Rwanda. And Rwanda Revenue Authority has lost over 800 million Rwandan francs in taxes during the first 6 months of the fiscal year as a result of dumping of imported rice on the local market. The demand for rice in the local market is higher than the supply, thus the need for imports, which has caused the government to impose a 45% tax on import rice compared to 60% in the rest of the region. Local international importers trading in the commodity in Rwanda, however, are now avoiding taxes, which has caused the taxman losses in revenue collection. Now, just last week, the Capital Markets East Africa 2015 conference was held here in Kigali with an aim of looking at ways of exploiting capital markets as a source of raising capital for economic growth. With more than 300 global and international experts, regulators, law firms, issuers, and rating agencies in attendance, we went to find out more about this event. We may all have heard about the capital markets before, but very few people and businesses have actually been using them as a source of finance for their businesses. And with the fast growth of SMEs in Rwanda, how important are capital markets and how do they work?
Capital markets around the world serve as terrific intermediaries, managing capital with large financing needs. They are effective in channeling savings and other funds to priorities such as infrastructure and SMEs. They improve the allocation of capital and risk, leading to greater economic stability. And they protect against capital outflows and reduce reliance on the banking system. Simply put, they fuel economic growth, they create jobs, and better the lives of millions of people.
Since Rwanda is now part of the East African community, efforts are being made to harmonize its markets with the East African capital markets. This has, however, raised questions in people's minds on how it will work, since all these markets are at different levels of economic growth. Honorable Clave Gatete explains.
Already there is progress because within the East African community, they have taken a decision on how we can harmonize. Whether it is having one bank, one currency, you know that the program in terms of monetary union, and where we are trying to harmonize the rules within the banking system, but also we are harmonizing within the capital markets. And the work that we are doing now is to make sure that the functioning, the legal frameworks at least are similar. We are working to make sure that the incentives, for example, the people in the region who are investing here are treated like Rwandans and vice versa. We are also making sure that other incentives, for example, not charging the capital gains on any of the transactions, that one is also applied everywhere. So we are making sure that we are harmonizing already in that. Another step that we have not moved, which we are now working on, is to make sure that we have the IT infrastructure. The IT infrastructure that can allow us to be able to do the trading, as I was mentioning earlier. Now, if we have the same for each of the East African community countries, then the rest is now how to link them, as we did for the East African payment system. And that way then, the rules and harmonization would allow now the trading within the region and will make it easier. But I think this is contained within, of course, the East African community protocol for monetary union, where we have to make sure that we harmonize all the financial sector, including the capital market.
With banks being overloaded with requests for loans from SMEs as they seek aid to develop their businesses, what is being done to encourage them to develop capital markets and fulfill the requirements required to do so?
Already our law is in place that allows SMEs to be able to raise money on the capital market. And not only that, but also the capital market authority together with the stock exchange, they've been working now singling out some of the SMEs to assist them in making sure that they do what is required in order to fulfill the regulation, which is a bit lighter than the regulation for the big companies. And at the same time, what we are doing is putting a system and assisting them how to make sure that they achieve that. But then we cannot keep on doing it without actually putting a permanent system that can help them in a sustainable manner rather than intervening all the time. We need a system that can always help them, even when they are listed, to make sure that they continue to get credibility. They have to continue doing things right.
As more and more people get to understand the need for these capital markets, Rwanda is indeed on a fast track towards self-reliance and economic growth. Kangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda. Joining us now in studio is Robert Merton, the Executive Director of the Capital Markets Authority. Welcome, Robert, to the show.
Thank you.
Now, briefly tell us why it was important for this conference to be held here in Rwanda. How is it going to, basically, how does it benefit the Rwandan people? And, you know, what outcomes were, you know, came from the conference?
Yeah, first of all, this conference, which was organized by the government of Rwanda in partnership with the International Finance Corporation, was held here in Rwanda as a precursor to what is emerging right now, that it is important to emphasize the development of the capital market. And why is it important for Rwanda? Rwanda's capital market is the youngest on the continent. And I must say it's done pretty well in terms of the products that have come to the market, in terms of helping businesses also access capital. And as young as it is a market that has been able to adopt some of the best practices so far, because starting late was an advantage in the sense that Rwanda did not have to repeat the same mistakes that have been made by the more established stock exchanges or the capital markets. Now, there was in the conference a number of lessons. Aid, international aid was discussed as to whether it is better than capital markets, and it came out clearly that aid had its limitation. That is, international aid had its limitation, rather shortcoming, in the sense that, first of all, the amount of aid that has been flowing into Africa has been fairly paltry or small compared to the amount of capital that is required for investments. Now, the other thing also is that aid comes with conditions, and you find that different African countries have got different priorities. So because of this limitation, it has also come out clear, that is what was also learned in the conference, that international capital markets are a requirement for development. No developed country has developed without a strong capital market. And that is one of the key messages that came out of the conference. And more important is, to Rwanda, of course, is that we are young, so we had this great opportunity of having experts from all over the world coming to Rwanda and discussing and giving good ideas about the way forward for capital markets in Africa. And as you could see from participants, you know, it also came out clear that Rwanda is setting a good pace. And more important is that since it is the first one to be held in this sub-region, it is a clear message to all the participants, as it was generally agreed that the way forward for Africa is capital markets. And capital market is a market for long-term capital. We also need to encourage our own domestic capital markets to develop, because despite being small compared to larger markets, you realize that for capital to flow into our markets, our own businesses, our own economy must attain certain features, certain attributes that are actually brought about by capital markets. And two of the most important ones are, one is a discipline of running business, and capital markets actually injects a lot of discipline in terms of transparency and disclosure of how businesses are being run, so that the public can clearly see how their money is being invested. And this was very, very important.
Great. So you just told us about the importance of capital markets to small and medium enterprises. Now, especially here in Rwanda, we have most small and medium enterprises that are in rural areas, people who maybe do not even understand English, and of course the conference was in English. So what is being done? We know the Rwanda Stock Exchange is doing a lot, explaining to people in districts, going low into the villages, explaining to people about the importance of bonds and shares and all these things. What is the Capital Market Authority doing to explain to these people, the small and medium enterprises owners, the importance of capital markets and how they can use them, and even some who can actually, you know, be the people who will be buying the capital markets?
Yeah, apparently a lot is being done by the Capital Market Authority, because to begin with, we work very closely with the Rwanda Stock Exchange. We do have a national public education program with very clear targeted audiences. We are educating the members of the public through talking to employees of government agencies. This has been going on, explaining to them how markets work, how they can also save their savings by investing through capital market. We also do advertise as and when we have specific events that are there in the market. We are also, more important, as much as we educate the public, we also do target businesses. We go to businesses, knock at their doors, sit with the owners of the business, especially the small to medium enterprises, and explain to them how they could come to the capital market. The other important thing, finally, maybe on this particular on SME, is that we have published disclosure requirements or guidelines on what SMEs require in order to access capital. Because we realize that to go to the main stock exchange, the requirements are a bit stiff for smaller businesses. So we do have rules, and we have created an SME market on the capital market for the small businesses.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Robert, for coming to the show.
You're most welcome.
Well, you're up to date today's business headlines. Sports news coming up next in just a minute with Arnold Quizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news. I'm Arnold Quizera. Starting with local football, Rayon Sports midfielder Leo Uwambajimana yesterday scored the only goal as the Blues defeated Cameroonian side Panthère Sportive in the 1-0 in the Orange CAF Confederations Cup in Douala, Cameroon. Uwambajimana scored the goal in the 7th minute of the first half after a well-taken free kick from defender James Tuvane. The Blues could have got a better scoreline, but captain Faudin Daisenga missed a penalty in the first half after Panthère Sportive goalkeeper Alain Shome Tekeo brought down striker Peter Otema. The first matches of the Cricket World Cup took place in Australia and New Zealand over the weekend, with both hosts and tournament favourites, South Africa and India, picking up wins on day one. David Miller and JP Dumni both scored hundreds as South Africa overcame a nervy start to beat Zimbabwe by 62 runs in the World Cup Pool B opener in Hamilton, wobbling at 83 for 4. South Africa were lifted by brilliant hundreds by Miller, 138 not out, and Dumni, 115 not out, with the pair sharing an unbroken stand of 256 runs. Virat Kohli scored an imperious century as India opened their World Cup defense in convincing fashion with a 76-run victory over Pakistan in a frenzied atmosphere at the Adelaide Oval on Sunday. The much-anticipated Pool B grudge match, the latest chapter in one of the greatest rivalries in sport, attracted a passionate crowd of 41,587 fans to the revamped ground, with up to 1 billion more tuning in on their subcontinent and around the world. Liverpool survived the nervy first half as they came back from 2 goals down to progress to the last 8 of the FA Cup on a day when Stoke City and West Ham were both humiliated. Alan Pardew's dream of reprising a celebrated 25-year-old FA Cup triumph was scuppered by Liverpool as the 7-time champions came from behind to book a place in the quarterfinals with a 2-1 win at Crystal Palace. Goals from Daniel Sturridge and Adam Lallana cancelled out Franz Campbell's first-half strike, but the upsets in football's oldest competition continued, with a Josh King hat-trick inspired Blackburn to a 4-1 win over Premier League side Stoke City at Ewood Park.
And a sign of relief for Liverpool fans, or what?
Yeah, I think it was a great sign. Daniel Sturridge, again, his importance to Liverpool continues to show ever since he got back from his injury. 3 goals in the past 4 matches. He has had 3 assists. Mario Balotelli looks a rejuvenated player. Him coming on in that second half was, I think, what changed the game around for Liverpool. That free kick that the keeper had to punch out for Adam Lallana to score the winning goal. And you feel now Liverpool are at the on-form team in the Premier League. They've not lost a game since Boxing Day. And if you are only to take results from Boxing Day, Liverpool will be on top of the Barclays Premier League. Them moving on to the quarterfinals in the FA Cup gives them a chance to go on and win some silverware. Don't forget, they lost to Chelsea in the Capital One Cup a few weeks back.
Liverpool is the team of the moment. Watch out, Jose Mourinho. Now, let's move on to cricket. And usually when England is playing, their fans and the media all go crazy. But this time, they've been really silent.
Yeah, I think the English can never keep quiet, if that's the kind of word you will use. The English media, again, hyping up their team. But I think they put too much pressure on their own players. Ian Morgan, their new captain, the England captain, coming into the current World Cup, and he has not scored a single run. He put on a very terrible performance, if you will call it, against Australia. Australia, they are traditional rivals, watching them. They have an Ashes series coming on later in the year. Australia, with that bowling attack of Michelle Stark and the world's best player in Mitchell Johnson, went out and dominated England. Now, you had Glenn Maxwell hitting England for 6 from every part of the field. The England bowlers couldn't contain him. And you go on to believe that this World Cup, again, is not going to have a lot of shocks. All games have gone according to script. When you look at the Indian game against Pakistan, India defending champions, Virat Kohli, he's the best one-day batsman in the world at the moment, coming out to put up a very good performance. South Africa are a team everyone should watch out for, because even when their best players are not playing well, they are producing.
They still find a way to win.
To win, and they win with massive score lines. When you look at that game against Zimbabwe, winning with 60 runs, Zimbabwe put up a very good performance. But then, IB de Villiers didn't show up. Hashim Amla didn't show up. You know, Mone Stein didn't show up. So who did they depend on? They went to JP Dumni, who came in with the runs. Mokel also came in with a strong partnership, setting a new world record of 265 runs in one stand, in a fifth stand. So you feel South Africa are a team, but as we've come to see the Proteas in previous World Cup tournaments, they choke when it matters most. Will they choke this time? Let's see as the World Cup goes on.
Now, continental football, let's come back here to Africa, and our very own Rayon Sport that has a lot of trouble locally still finds a way to shine on the continental stage. I don't know what's going on here.
Rumor has it that in Cameroon, the former Rayon Sport coach, Didier Gomez, had a helping hand in this, being that he's the current coach of Cotton Sport,
right,
who are the worst Panthers rivals in Cameroon. Rayon Sport putting up a very good performance. They dominated that game. I overheard the game over the radio. I couldn't travel to Cameroon, but they took control of that game for the first 30 to 40 minutes of the game, and then, as you expected, in the second half, they sat back, you know, to defend their scoreline. They are bringing that 1-0 score lead to Kigali for the next weekend when the Cameroonian team travels. I think right now Rayon Sport have 1 foot into the next round where they are going to take on Egyptian giants, Zamalek. I think it's theirs to lose right now. If APR can put up a similar performance next weekend, we hope they too can make Rwanda shine on the continental level. It's high time our clubs start performing on the continental level.
We all know that away goal, how important it can be.
Very important.
Thank you very much, Arnold. All right, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Makena and I will be right back after the break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at news-making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
The government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has written to Rwanda seeking that Kigali hosts a summit of the Economic Community of Great Lakes. CEPGL brings together Rwanda, the DRC, and Burundi. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Louise Mushikiwabo, says Kinshasa wishes to have the meeting in Rubavu district, which also hosts the headquarters of the bloc. This will be the first time the summit is convened since 1992, after a long slumber following the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Last year, a CEPGL policy dialogue meeting in Rubavu emphasized that the bloc has immense economic potential that can be harnessed to improve the well-being of its citizens.
Ongoing police investigations into the recent circulation of fake Rwandan money has led to the arrest of 3 men. The men were apprehended after they were found in possession of 1.3 million Rwandan francs in fake 5,000 franc notes. Investigations were launched earlier this month when a mobile agent in Nyabugogo fell victim. Various measures have been initiated, including equipping officers with the skills to investigate financial crimes, working with financial institutions like banks to detect and apprehend fraudsters.
The lower chamber of parliament has endorsed a draft law authorizing the ratification of the Nairobi Protocol on the development and operation of the standard gauge railway under the Northern Corridor Integration Project. The bill now goes to Senate for further scrutiny before coming into law. It is expected to happen no later than next month. The Ugandan Parliament is yet to second the legal framework governing the Regional Infrastructure Development Fund over allegations of inflated costs of the project. To fast-track regional integration, the governments of Rwanda, Kenya, and Uganda committed to the development of SGR that links the landlocked countries of Rwanda and Uganda with the port of Mombasa in Kenya. The project is expected to be completed by 2018.
Financing for infrastructure projects will be high on the agenda at the East African Community Heads of State Summit in Nairobi this week. The presidents of the 5 member states are expected to adopt alternative means to raise $100 million for the central and northern corridors. They are also set to endorse the integration of the 2 parallel projects into one community initiative. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta is scheduled to hand over the chair to Tanzania's President Jakaya Kikwete, who will then hold the responsibility of steering the EAC through this phase as he serves as his last few months as head of state before October's elections.
Police in Copenhagen say they have shot and killed the man believed that was behind the 2 deadly attacks in the Danish capital hours earlier. Police say they killed the man in the Nørrebro district after he opened fire on them. It came after 1 person was killed and 3 police officers injured at a free speech debate in a cafe on Saturday. In the second attack, a Jewish man was killed and 2 police officers wounded near the city's main synagogue. Police say video surveillance suggested the same man carried out both attacks. They do not believe any other people were involved.
Time now for a review of the headlines. Our very own Arnold Quizera joins us now to look through some of the front pages. Welcome back, Arnold.
Thank you, Makeda.
So the first headline making news right now, apparently hospital facilities and service has gone down and people are now complaining negligence.
Yeah, it's something that came up with when the cabinet also sat on Friday for the cabinet meeting. To some of the minutes that leaked out of that meeting. It was one of the big agendas in the meeting. Just before I get into that, I saw an interesting story you guys had of the $100 million which the EAC presidents need. That I think they should just stop traveling of East African Legislative Assembly members, and they can get that $100 million.
No more yala.
No more yala, and then yeah. But going back to the topic, to the negligence in hospitals, it comes at a time when a mother, there was child swapping recently, which was an unfortunate story. And then it was mainly brought to light, these stories of a lady who lost her baby, and then the dead child was in her womb for a period of 1 week. And there was no operation. The district authorities the hospital authorities, that's in Musanze, just transferred her from Musanze to Rubavu, where she wasn't given any service for a week, and then she passed.
That's not even negligence anymore. That's criminal.
That's criminal. The Minister of Health, Agnes, Dr. Agnes, came out and she said they're going to, because the widower, the husband, has gone ahead to put up charges against the government and the district officials, and they're saying anyone involved in that activity is going to face a criminal offense. But then this comes at a time when we have so many of these cases taking place in King Faisal Hospital. Recently, there were similar cases, and I think this brings us to question the Ministry of Health. Is it watching over these doctors? Because we have so many doctors who are what you call double dealing. They're on a civil servant salary, and at the same time they have private hospitals. So their priorities are the private hospitals and not to give service to the people, which is very unfortunate. Health is a field where we are short of so many experts. We don't have as many people as it should be in the health sector, and I think the Ministry of Health should start giving answers to the public when it comes to that.
Now, that's very unfortunate. Let's move on to something else. Now, water shortage here in the city of Kigali. I mean, this has been a recurrent thing. And now, I don't know, is WASAC going to address it? What's going to happen?
A statement coming out from WASAC, from the head of WASAC, Mr. James Sano, was they are working on 2 projects that will enable Kigali have adequate water by 2018. That's a very long time. Right now, WASAC is only producing 65,000 cubic meters of water per day, yet Kigali needs more than 100,000. Now, their target is to give us 90,000 by the end of this year. Yeah, and some of the reasons they're giving for this, for the water shortage is because there's been a lot of rural to urban migration with so many people coming to work in Kigali. But then, as authorities, these are some of the things that they were supposed to foresee. And again, complaints about WASAC and its sister RAGE about their inability to give people services. Mr. Sano said this water rationing is not going to stop for the next 2-3 weeks. So areas like Kanombe, like Chuchuro are going to continue to be affected with this water, at least if the little water that they could provide could be of quality standard.
Right.
But that's not also happening. So they want to set up the treatment plants, which they say will be, one treatment plant will be in operation by the end of the year, which is a positive outlook. But then this is affecting so many people's businesses, you know, especially being Kanombe, being close to the special economic zone where you are trying to attract all these industries. So it's something they need to work out very quickly.
Well, something to watch out for. Thank you so much, Arnold, for coming in once more for our newspapers. And we'll be together once again in Hot Topics. Looking forward to it. Lots more still to come. Lifestyle is up next. And of course, like I said, Hot Topics, where we discuss and debate the daily topics. Don't go anywhere.
It's another session of Motivation Monday, and in this week's show, I caught up with a trainer to find out how to get a full body assessment, from checking out your body fat, to muscle mass, to even finding out your real body age. Yeah, I know. All right, let's take a look. Welcome to another session of Motivation Mondays. I'm here with Dennis Debdal, the founder of Waka Fitness, and today we're finding out about how to, I guess, check our heart and, you know, find out how we're healthy, not just going on a scale, right?
Exactly, yeah, because it is a huge mistake that people often do. You will see it at home or even at the streets. When you go into Kigali Center, you'll see people like having a scale on the street. You pay 100 francs and you will see how much you weigh. And it gives you one measurement, but that measurement doesn't really tell you anything. So for us, it's super important that we use the different tools to measure not just your weight, but like, as you were saying, your heart condition. So that's where your blood pressure, your pulse. That gives us a lot of information about your health on a bigger scale. And then the last one, you still remember from last time, the measurement tape, right?
Right.
So that gives us a good indicator that can help motivate people to actually see that they are either increasing or decreasing the size of certain body parts. Thank you, Pape. I will now show you at home like what it is to do a full body composition assessment. So what is your age?
I am 27 years old.
27. And you're a man?
Yeah.
And your height was?
1 meter 85.
185, very good. Okay, once I put this in, you can step on the scale. And now you can step on the scale. There you go. And you just straighten your arms, have a close grip, there you go. And just hold it until I say let it go. So what it's doing right now, it's actually sending impulses through his body to see if there's a difference in between his body fat and his muscle mass. So we almost got the results now. So now we are told that his body weight is 95.5 kg. He has a body mass index, which is another number I'd like to explain at another point. Then we can see his body fat. And when people, they often come in here, they're saying they want to lose weight, but they actually want to lose fat. And currently you're around 23% body fat. But we can also see how much muscle he has. So you have 37.3. And then you have your body age. Now that's a number that most of you never heard about before. But currently your body age is 58.
Yep.
And how old are you?
I am 27.
Yeah, but I will explain in details later on. And then the last one, last time I spoke about the visceral or abdominal fat, and you're currently at 9, so that's a very good number. So it means Pape has very little fat inside of him, so that's a very good number. So the next thing I want to do is, as I showed you last time, the measurement tape. It's a very, very simple tool, but very effective. So with my finger, I'm going to measure him 4 different areas. I will start with his arm, his waist, go to his hips, and then his thighs. Those are 4 areas that are very important to measure. Some of them over time when you exercise, you want to see that they actually get bigger. And some areas, especially like the belly region and your hips, you want to see them getting smaller, both for men and for women. Okay. So the last part I want to do with you today is to measure your blood pressure and your pulse. And when you think about it, what we're measuring now is actually the condition of his heart. So for both men and women, this is very, very serious, even no matter what age you're in. So we want to, of course, make sure that your heart is in a good condition, and we'll be able to tell whether you're stressed or if you have any other internal issues that we need to be aware of and help you change. So people who are very stressed, you'll often see that they have a high blood pressure. People who are overweight very often have a high blood pressure. So it basically just means that you're wearing down your body too quickly. But there are many ways to avoid that. But in the studio, I will explain a bit more about that.
All right, so joining us now is Dennis Dibdal. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alan.
So I must say, when I looked at the video, the guy saying, you told him that his body age is 58, and I was quite surprised because he's a regular in the gym. How is that?
Well, it's all about what is the starting point, right? When you decide to go into a process where you want to like get leaner or lose some body fat, if you are like 50 kg overweight or if you're 10 kg overweight, it makes a difference. So when it comes to the body age, and if you want me to describe what it means, I can try to do that.
Yeah, in a brief way, explain exactly what it is, the body age, because I did my assessment and I was 42, which is...
You're 42,
yeah,
and how old are
40.
you?
I'm actually 30, so,
yeah,
12 years older. Yeah, so explain what it is exactly.
To make it very short, when we were younger, we had less body fat on our body because we didn't need much. We needed to grow some more muscles. But when we're getting older, we need more body fat. So that's why on a statistical level, on a global level, you see that men and women, when they're younger, have lower body fat. When they get older, they will have more. So the body composition with you in terms of your body fat just says that you are equivalent to someone who is 42.
Got it, which means I need to basically reduce my body fat so that I can go to my real age.
Your real age, yeah.
Could I actually go younger?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Than my real age?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I think that would be my goal.
That is your goal.
All right, now tell us more about the BMI. Now, I know that you're not a big fan of the BMI. Tell us why.
Okay, so I guess that most people, they don't really know what it means.
The body mass index.
Exactly.
Yes.
The way you find it is actually you take your age, and you take your weight, and you take your height, and you put that into an equation. That gives you a number. And that number goes up and down depending on like new research done, like whether you should be ideally at around 28 or 25, and so on. The reason why I don't like it, Alan, is that like me, I have small bones. You have like normal bones, yeah. And then you meet some guys, some women that has bigger bones.
Right.
So that means automatically they will weigh more. And since weight is part of that equation, it also means that that number is going to be different. So that's why I'm not a big fan of the BMI. I'm more of a fan of measuring like different places on your body.
Right.
That's really what I'm focused on.
Okay, and also can you tell us about the importance of also doing the heart, that thing you guys did?
Yeah.
What do you call that?
Well, we're measuring your blood pressure.
Right, measuring your blood pressure. Yeah. So what's the importance of doing the blood pressure? Because I did mine and apparently I have low blood pressure.
That's what you think, but I just explained to you, it's all normal.
Okay,
it's all normal. Well, the reason why it's important is that, of course, like if your heart is working too hard and too fast all the time, it's like exhausting your engine in your vehicle all the time. So over time, it'll just, burn out. We don't want the same thing to happen for your heart. So, so the reason why we are measuring it is to make sure that your blood pressure, like the initial pump, has to be below 120. Yeah. Once it's over, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have a high blood pressure, but it means that we need to look into whether you are actually, if you have a high blood pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
And what are some of the ways, I guess, that you can, reduce the high blood pressure?
Yeah. Exercise.
Exercise.
And stress. Like stress, If you know of someone who is suffering from stress,
I know a lot of people
you
suffer
do,
from
yeah,
stress.
and you would be surprised. Even though they're young, you would see that they have high blood pressure,
Right.
and it can lead to like stress. It can lead to like other heart conditions. It's just really bad. But healthy food, enough sleep, more exercise, and yada yada yada, that will put them on the right track.
Okay. And do you find that it's important to do a body assessment, let's say before you start working out, or to check it every month? What do you say about doing a body assessment? Like, what's the importance of doing it?
Will it make a difference in terms of will you achieve better results? No. But I think it's a very helpful tool to, first of all, see if you are healthy from the beginning, to see if there are certain areas that we either have to be aware of or that we definitely want to improve. But also it's really a huge motivation to see like that you're able to track, this is my starting point, this is where I am 1 month later. So for me, it's also a tool to help you track and to stay motivated to see that you're actually, achieving some good results.
Right, because like this week I'm starting the 90-day challenge.
You
so,
are.
I'm looking forward now that I've done the body assessment.
Yeah.
So will I be checking it every week, every once a month, or how does that work?
We'll do it every 2 weeks. I don't want you to get too focused on it. And also getting good results in 1 week is difficult, but
Right.
2 weeks, then we start talking. Like then it's possible, with you maybe 2-3 kg or so.
Right.
So yeah, let's see.
All right, Dennis. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and our audience will get to see the transformation over the
Exactly.
90 days.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming to the
You're
show.
welcome, Alan. Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. Hot Topics is coming right up. Welcome back. It's that Hot Topics time again. As always, you can join in on the debates through our social media, whether on Facebook or on Twitter. Let's get into our first hot topic, guys. Okay, I want to know, so over the weekend was Valentine's Day. What did you guys do? How was your Valentine's? Let's start with Fidelis.
Well, I spent my Valentine's Day with my family. My parents renewed their vows. 41 years, way to go, way to go.
Great. Really good.
So that's basically what I did. It was amazing. Best Valentine's Day ever.
Surrounded by
ever.
I spent
Love,
mine with
love,
family
love.
too. It was fun.
really good.
You know what? I've never had Valentine's with family, which may sound weird for some, but it was actually really nice. I mean, they were the first people to love you, right? So
For sure.
Hey.
For sure.
What about you, Makeda?
You know what? I DJ'd an event, Love in the Dark, at Zen, and it was a whole concept where you had a dinner and your date had to blindfold you and feed you, and
Yeah.
it was very interesting to watch.
Look at the way Arnold is looking at you, man.
No, I'm actually really curious to know how, like, okay, how does it work? Like, you're blindfolded the whole time.
No. Okay, you start off, I think they had drinks and things like that, and then once everyone arrived, they announced it's time to put your blindfolds on.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think it was you take turns, and first one part of the couple blindfolds the other
Okay.
person, and then they feed them, and if something falls, you have to clean it off.
Aw.
And,
That's cute.
Again, look at the way Arnold is looking at you.
people had fun with it. You know, it's nice to see different concepts coming to Kigali.
Right. Regis, how was your Valentine's?
That's good.
Yeah?
That's what I'm going to say. So let's move on to the first hot topic.
Arnold, how was yours?
I watched a lot of rugby. I did
Your first
marathon
love.
in the morning. Yeah, I spent the day literally watching a lot of sports. The Cricket World Cup was just starting, so like from 4 a.m. I was on telly watching sports. Then I had to do the marathon. Then
Dressed in red, pink?
nah,
None of the above?
But I noticed this year people were they were into it this year.
I was
like,
about
so
to
many
say
people
that.
went on dates and people
For
were
sure.
dressed up. and it
Everyone
was
had
like-
on red and
I
pink.
know.
You know what? I'm one of those people who kind of makes fun of people who dress up and actually like
Yeah.
wear the colors. But it was actually impressive to see
Yeah.
how many people on the streets really took it seriously.
You
and,
make
know-
fun. I had on a dress that had flowers and hearts, and it was pink and red.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
Took it to another level.
Oh yeah. I love
All
a
right.
theme.
Well,
There you go. There's the blindfold.
yeah, there you go. It's interesting. I've never tried, but I'll definitely try it sometime.
Really good.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed your weekend. All right, let's go on to the next hot topic. So you guys are aware, we've had 4G networks since last year, but a lot of people have been complaining because of the pricing. Well, recently, a retail internet service provider, ISPA, as well as a wholesaler called Ole Rwanda, slashed their prices by up to 70%. Now, this is great because a lot of businesses, will benefit from this, and a lot of people are complaining. I'll just give you the facts about it. Basically, now you'll be able to get a daily package of 1 gigabyte for 1,300 a day, whereas before it was 4,100. Or you can get a day. Or you can get the 30-day package, which is 39,000 now. Before it was 160,000 francs. I mean, it's a
really
drastic.
good.
Prices don't compare. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that also takes me to the side. Why are they slashing the prices now?
I mean,
Because
from what
they
it
were-
said, it
no
was
one
the
was
public
using it.
outcry. A lot of people were complaining.
That people are
It's
not
good,
using
but it's
it.
expensive.
I think the
Yeah.
question is, why was it so expensive to
In the
begin
first
with?
place.
Absolutely. But you know what? Hey, I guess these guys have found a solution that I think is more reasonable for most people. Do you guys think you'll get 4G now?
I'm going to go ahead and keep coming to the office.
Keep waiting for the cuts, for them to slash a
Exactly.
little
Really
bit more. Much lower. Okay, cool. All right, let's go on to the next hot topic. Now, this one I read and I just thought this is an interesting story. Basically, there was a research that came out that showed that air pollution is linked to increased risk of suicide. So now, most people associate suicide to psychological factors such as stress, anxiety, and depression. But now it seems that cities that have a lot of pollution tend to also have much more suicide rates.
Yeah, but that relates. If there's a lot of air pollution, then people are stressed.
Here's
And
air
then-
pollution already. I'm coughing.
No, but you know what? I wasn't also surprised when I read the article because if you think about it, I mean, just think about if you live in a place where there's no sun, it's always like, gloomy and dark, and I don't know, I guess it affects the way a person can be.
Definitely.
And, eventually, and I must comment and say that it's people who are exposed to it long term, not just short term, but long term. We're lucky enough that we don't live in a very polluted city, but basically, the next time you think of living in a polluted city, I mean, yeah.
Happy thoughts.
Yeah, just letting you know. All right.
All right, well,
So
those
we
were
shouldn't try to be industrialized. Like, are you telling us?
Basically, don't move to China. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
I just
Listen, next time, can we start with the sad story and end with the happy, lovely story?
You know what? At the end of the day, you're right.
Look for Valentine.
Let's talk more about positivity.
There we go.
Like Fidelis' parents' wedding anniversary.
Absolutely. Congratulations
Shout
to
out to
Mama and
my
Papa
dad.
Fidelis.
Positivity like the Cricket World Cup is still ongoing.
Look at this one and him and his love. Okay. Don't forget that we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. We are constantly checking out for you guys. Like us on Facebook and send us ideas for programs if you have any. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports that we do every day. Find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We'd love to see your photos. Or simply check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. We'd love to hear your feedback and do let us know if you have an idea for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Makeda Mahadio. We'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow, so please do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine team, have a great day. Bye.